Hello and welcome everybody. It's Rose Smith here from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks so much for joining me for the Vivacious Virgo October horoscope. Wow, what a big month we've got coming up. There is so much happening this month. We will start the month with a little thing called a Grand Cross. I'll talk about that. It'll only be for a few hours. So depending on where you are in the world, it'll be either the 30th of September or the 1st of October, but that is likely to be quite intense. We also have a solar eclipse on the 25th of the month, bringing some new beginnings into your life, but that could also be intense too because that's in Scorpio. Then we have Mercury, Saturn and Pluto turning direct, giving us a real big push forward, and Jupiter and Mars turning retrograde. So as you can see, there's a lot happening. Just to briefly explain, I like to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month, just to kick us off, because often it's amazing how the cards work in with the horoscope. Okay, and if you're new, subscribe and be alive, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to the board now, and we're going to pick these cards. I don't know, that moved by itself, and I haven't even got the window open. Alrighty, so the cards are first on the list, and you can think of the first card as the first half of the month if you like, and the second card as the second half of the month. All right, I close my eyes because I like to have a little vision. Okay, you can put that umbrella away. I don't know if this means literally or just symbolically, but either there's a lot of rain that's been going on in your area and it's going to turn sunny, or maybe some difficulties have sort of transpired and worked themselves out, and the sun is coming out in your life once again. Either way, it's a good thing. Let's have a look and see what card we get. And it's the Page of Pentacles. Well, isn't that interesting? Because you have so much happening here in your second house. Second house is here, third house is here, but you still have a lot happening to do with your money and also your communication zone. So this can be also your possessions or the things that you value in life, and there's a lot of communication going on, which I'll talk about. This is sometimes these are things that you're unaware of, but you do have some knowledge, because she's got some white here, but this black means it's something hidden, and the red means take action. Okay, now who's not up to date with their paperwork? There might be some bills sitting there, or something that you've been meaning to pay but you've sort of forgotten about it because you know this thing called life keeps happening. But there's news about your money, so don't be surprised if there's something you might already know about it but you've just temporarily forgotten. So I would advise you to go through your paperwork, because there is so much happening, and there might be paperwork about your money there. Okay, that's the first card. The second card, closing my eyes. What does this mean? It's an anteater. We don't even have these in Australia. I'm not sure why I'm pretty sure it's an anteater. It's got the spikes. It's a bit like an echidna. So if you're in Australia, because Australia is the only place in the world that has echidnas, this is our native wildlife. I don't know much about these animals and what it could possibly represent, because I've never seen an echidna in a vision before, but I feel like it's something to do with going about your daily business, your daily routine. You do have Saturn there in that house of daily habits. So there might have been some sort of restriction at some point, but now that doesn't seem to be there so much, even though it's only 18 degrees, say 19 degrees in Aquarius. But there could be some freeing up so that your daily routine it might be going slowly. There might be delays, but it is going, it is working. And I just see this small echidna or anteater. I'm not sure what an anteater actually does other than eats ants, but I don't know if it's got the little sort of spines. That's what I'm seeing, the animal with the spines. Okay, so let me know. I'm really not across every single animal. Let me know in the comments. All right, so let's see what card comes out, and it's the Lover's card, okay? And this means that you're integrating some energy. It's usually an energy that's opposite to yours. It can be in a relationship, and it's a bit push me, pull you. It's a bit like a relationship that's on and off, on and off. He goes away or she goes away, then comes back, and that sort of thing. And maybe the level of commitment isn't there. Excuse me, coughing. But there's this real sort of spiritual connection, and the angels are looking out over all of this. Look, it mightn't be forever. It mightn't be meant to be forever. But this person or this energy within is coming into your life more and more, and so you have control over whatever it is this person or energy represents. There's a snake down here, down the bottom, representing transformation. And you know how snakes, when they grow, you know, they'll often shed their skins every year, and that's because they're growing. I've got one a snake skin hanging off the back fence at the moment, and they're shedding their skin, and you are too, basically, because you're growing. Okay, so that's very significant. It's a major arcana card, and what we'll do is we'll just put that there like that and move that up there so you can see it. And I'm going to make this a bit bigger for you. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we're coming to your horoscope. And as I said, it's a pretty big month. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is this Grand Cross for a few hours. See, it's involving Neptune. It's involving the moon, which this means that because the moon travels very fast, it won't be for very long. It'll only be for a few hours, but it could be the 30th or the 1st, depending where you are. And it's also involving Mercury, which is retrograde, so watch for misunderstandings and confusion, and also Mars, which goes retrograde on the 30th. But when the moon moves, well, as it moves, it's going to go out of this pattern. So this pattern, which is basically 4 squares, is very challenging, but it's the kind of challenge where it could lead you to a situation where you make a decision, and that's actually quite positive, because you make a decision and you get on and do something and move forward and evolve in your life. So even if it is challenging, it's ultimately beneficial for you. So it could be a decision about a relationship. So we've got the moon, it's sort of stirring is the word I'm trying to say, stirring up emotional contents in your subconscious. We've got Neptune, this very spiritual connection going on here as well, and that's in your 7th house of committed relationships or important, significant relationships. Mars, which is, you know, quite a masculine energy, and it is the planet of war, so there could be arguments, but there could also be passion. Mars is very passionate. And you've also got the full moon in your house of shared resources and intimacy as well, stirring things up and illuminating what you need to know about intimacy and, you know, honesty in relationships. It's not always easy. And Mercury, communications and ideas. Okay, so let's go through this in a bit more. Oh, before I do that, I'll just also talk about, yes, your ruler Mercury is going direct on the 2nd or the 3rd of the month, so communication should become clearer then. Saturn and Pluto are also going direct, so that gives you the extra energy there. The solar eclipse here in your 3rd house of communications and ideas. And there's a lot of energy going on there with Mercury, Venus, and the new moon, which is a solar eclipse, yeah. And Mars and Jupiter turning retrograde on the 28th and 30th, respectively. So let's have a look in depth now. So 30th of September to the 2nd of October, Venus opposition Jupiter. Now, normally opposition is difficult, but because Jupiter's involved, this just brings a bit more reality, because Jupiter sometimes likes to make everything really big and loses a bit of a grip on reality, overindulgence, overspending, or over something, so this brings, when it's opposition, it brings a bit of reality, but, it could be quite a good time that you share with your friends. And Jupiter's here, up here in your 8th house. So it could have been some expansion at some point around your joint resources, but when it goes retrograde at the end of the month, that sort of goes quieter. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Mercury opposition Neptune on the 29th to the 4th, and that's Mercury retrograde. Really not a good time to make a decision or to sign a contract, because there could be misunderstandings or miscommunications. Your thinking could be more fuzzy than usual, and it's sort of hard to think logically and clearly about what you should do. On the upside, though, you could be really in touch with your imagination. So if you're an artist or a musician, that might be really helpful to you. The 5th of October to the 8th of October, Mercury is now direct and it's trining Pluto, bringing great depth to your conversations. You could find people telling you all manner of very private conversations, or, very private things. Of course, revealing secrets might be an issue, so do watch that things don't just come out of your mouth. Sometimes we speak before we think. I know all about it. It's a time when superficial answers don't really suit you now. You want to get right to the core of the issue. You want to investigate something and get right down to the nitty-gritty. You can solve mysteries now. And if something has been lost, it might come back to you now as well. The 5th to the 8th, Mercury trines your MC. You could be thinking a lot more or communicating about your general life direction, organising your work and, your professional life. Any sort of decisions that you make about your career or your reputation will probably work out well under this influence, and you're probably quite clear and objective. And gathering information for long-range goals is probably useful too, and there's a positive around that. The 9th to the 18th of the month, Mars squares Neptune, which is very confusing. You might not feel as strong as you normally do. Maybe you're a bit more vague, or you just don't feel very effective. So it's not a good time to push yourself to do things. Just do what you have to do. Be gentle with yourself. It is great for your imagination again, and you might have some sort of strange fantasy or desire pop into your mind. Write it down. You can read it back later and think about what it could possibly mean. But yeah, you could feel quite inspired if you're creative. On the 9th, the Hunter's full moon is in Aries, which is here in your 8th house with Chiron, okay, stirring things up. And you might find that there's something about an old wound or, a spiritual hurt that needs healing or resolving. And the full moon will, make a bit of turbulence and bring it up to the surface of your mind. And that could be about intimacy or something that you share with another person or a company. Maybe it's about loans or superannuation or 401k if you're in the States, or perhaps even inheritances. Things could get a little bit intense. Watch out for reactions, that you don't act on your reaction because it's Aries, so you might feel a bit more impulsive. It's better to try and think logically here, especially if there's any money involved. On the 10th, Mercury enters Libra, here in your 2nd house. Sorry. And that's all about your personal finances, your possessions, or the things that you value. And with Mercury there, there'll be a lot of organising, there'll be communications and ideas about your money. You might be thinking, because it's Libra, you might be thinking about buying beautiful things, which is fine if you can afford it. There is with Libra, however, a tendency to overspend on luxurious items. But you could also find a solution to a problem, especially about money. On the 11th to the 23rd, Mars squares Mercury. Now, Mars is a bit pushy, and he'll be pushing you to say whatever comes into your head without thinking about it. So do watch for that. Watch for irritability and impatience. Just slow down, take a deep breath. Don't let Mars push you into saying something that you might regret later. Because that frustration is, carrying that is a bit hard to deal with. So maybe go for a walk in the morning, make yourself a bit more physically tired so you're too tired to argue. Perhaps to watch for accidents and incidents, slow down, and do watch for headaches as well. 6 to the 8th of November, Saturn sextiles the Moon. You could be feeling very peaceful and good about yourself now. Other people show their appreciation and they approve of what you've done. Your daily life probably is running much better now and everything is in good working order. You're probably very well organised and things are going well at home as well. 23rd of the month sees Venus entering Scorpio, which is the third house here, and there's a real party going to go on here because there's so many planets in this house. With Venus, it could be emotional, but it might be positive. So it doesn't mean that it's going to be, a problem or anything, but you just could be really stirred up. Maybe you're dealing with distant family members, cousins or siblings that, that you've lost contact with or you haven't been that close to. And there's some sort of positive result. So even if there was some sort of issue, this is a time when an olive branch could be offered and it works out better for everybody, a real clearing of the air. 23rd sees the Sun also coming to the party here, bringing insight and awareness, happiness, stability. And the new moon is there on the 25th, so there's a party in the house. And new beginnings focus on study, promotions or marketing, especially if you're in small business. New beginnings are likely to be illuminated now, so you get this sort of awareness that you didn't have before. And there could be sort of deep and inspiring feelings around this. 28 sees Jupiter retrograde go into your 7th house here. Things go quieter with regard to your significant relationships or perhaps legalities. Or if there's a person that you don't get on with normally, they call this the house of open enemies. If there's someone you don't get on with, it just sort of goes quiet and it's probably not resolved, but yeah, there's a bit of peace, which is always good. 29th sees Mercury entering the 3rd house as well, so you're talking more, communicating about what's going on in your local area, study, and your distant relatives. And also Mars retrograde on the 30th up here. It's in the same house, but you may not have the amount of energy regarding your career that you had previously. Normally, you'd be more energetic, but now you might be thinking more rather than acting. So it's not the best time to put your ideas out there into the world about your career. It's just probably a good time just to ruminate over, whatever you think, and you can come out and make it more public at a better time in the future. Alrighty, so that's it. It's a mixed bag, but there is a lot going on and some really lovely influences there too for you, Virgo. If you're new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell right now. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your likes and your comments. And even though sometimes I don't get time to answer, I do read them. Okay, thanks again, and I shall see you all again soon. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website, absolutesoulsecrets.com, for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.